Hey there, Otaku! Are you into retro gaming? Are you into modern gaming? Are you into video gaming? Go Mega Otaku Gamer Alpha has new episodes most Sundays right here on this channel. Check them out. Hey there, Otaku! Welcome back to another episode of Go Mega Otaku Gamer Alpha. Ken-chan here, and today we're looking at the Neo Geo AES. Now, the manufacturer of the AES, or Advanced Entertainment System, was SNK. It was part of the Neo Geo product family. It was a fourth-generation console. The retail availability, it launched in Japan January 31st, 1990, and in North America in 1991. Its introductory price was $649.99. It used ROM cartridges, which we'll look at, which were actually boards, game boards. The CPU was a Motorola 68000 clocked at 12 megahertz. And a Zilog Z80A clocked at 4 megahertz. It used memory card storage. It had 64K of RAM, 74 kilobytes of VRAM, and 2 kilobytes of sound memory. It did a 320 by 224 resolution, 4,096 on-screen colors out of a palette of 65,536. It was discontinued in 2004, and what I mean by discontinued, they actually went bankrupt in 2001. They had stopped manufacturing home consoles in 1997, and they cited piracy as one of the main reasons why they stopped manufacturing consoles, and also as to why they went bankrupt. They also had the multi-video system, which was the MVS. That was the stand-up arcade machine. Those arcade machines had a board that kind of looks like something along the lines of the Neo Geo that held multiple cartridges in them. So you could have one stand-up machine that had multiple games in it. It saved on space. And initially the AES was actually available it was only available to rent in things like hotel chains. But SNK, of course, expanded sales into the home market because they found out that there was a demand for this machine. There were some gamers that were interested in having a machine like this and paying a little more money, well, a lot more money, than for the machines that were available at the time offered by Nintendo and Sega. The last official game for the SNK Neo Geo system was Samurai Showdown 5 Special, released in 2004. So even though they went bankrupt and even though they stopped manufacturing consoles, they continued to support both the NVS and the AES until 2004. Now, this is one of the cartridges for the AES. Quite large, as you notice, if you compare it to something like, say, a cartridge from a Super Famicom. If you look at the size difference, you'll see that there's a huge difference there in the sizes. And the other difference that you'll notice, this only has one little card in it. This has two cards, and these are actually game boards that are in here. And one is for sound, and one is for graphics. They kept them separate, which allowed for better graphics and sound on the games themselves. If you ever are lucky enough to see a cartridge that goes on in the MVS on the inside of the cabinet, you'll notice that it's basically the same thing, only slightly larger. It goes out a little bit further and the boards are a little larger. Now, they made these a little larger like that because they didn't want people ordering MVS games, which were cheaper because of no package art, etc., and putting them into their AES. They didn't want people to have that option, so they had to make something different that would only fit in the AES at home. This is for cooling back here. And these are actually game boards inside here, as I said. They're complete game, and they are the actual arcade port. They are a straight arcade game. They're the same games that you found in the arcades, which is what set this system apart from other game systems at the time. Now let's have a look at the console itself. Neo Geo Max 330 Mega Pro Gear Spec Advanced Entertainment System. The design is sleek. It's trim. It's a pretty happening device here. The back is sparse. It's simple. You have your AV out, which was proprietary. You have your DC, your electric plug here, cooling on the back there. Okay, black system. Cartridge port, a huge cartridge port right here. Reset button right here. And here we have, this is the power switch here. Going over, we have a controller port. Phones, you could put your headphones in here. And you have a volume slot, which is nice. This had good sound, as I said. It took full advantage of having its own soundboard for every game. Another controller port here. Memory card slot here. Okay, that's the unit itself by SNK. And of course here is the controller that came with it. This was standard. That was an arcade stick. And it of course has the joystick here, a select button, a start button, 4 pads. Okay, 4 buttons, just like an arcade machine. And the overall thing ends up being something like this. The arcade controller, of course, almost as large as the unit itself. Now, these games, when they sold at retail, ran anywhere from $100 to $250. They were quite expensive. But let's take a look at some of the games. I only have a couple of games for this system, as they are still kind of expensive and kind of difficult to get a hold of. There's the boot up screen there. This is Fighters History Dynamite. And of course, this is the other game I have for it. It's Fatal Fury Special. 2 fighting games. Okay. SNK made a lot of fighting games. And a lot of fighting games where people walked along the street and fought and stuff like that. So let's have a look at this one. Oh no. Well, it looks like I got beat by Andy Bogard. Well, you win a few, you lose a few. Whatever. Interestingly enough, Neo Geo has the Neo Geo X coming out actually sometime soon, 2012, 2013 maybe. The Neo Geo X Gold will actually contain a mock-up of the original Neo Geo with this handheld that slides into the cartridge port, or which is actually a dock now, and it'll have these 20 classic games on it, and they're going to retail this thing for about $200. So I have a couple of thoughts on that as well. The Neo Geo X system and the X Gold system are going to be basically a novelty device, a novelty console. They have absolutely 0 developers lined up. They're not going to be making anything new. It's not designed to compete with like a Wii U or a PS4 or an Xbox 720 or anything like that. They have 20 built-in games. Their website itself, if you go to the Neo Geo X website, they make no mention of having any other games available for it at any time. There's speculation. There are individual speculators making videos, writing blogs, writing articles, etc. That are speculating that there might be some other games coming for it. There's an expandable game slot, which is basically an SD card slot. There is no mention made by SNK and the Neo Geo X Gold that there's going to be any further games for it at all on their website. There is only speculation coming in. Certainly the hardware isn't there for them to do anything new that would be competitive to compete with Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft in this next generation. So what you're going to have there is a novelty system. For $200, you get the handheld device, which by itself runs about $130, has 20 games built in, but the $200 tier also gets you the dock, which looks like a Neo Geo AES, and an arcade control stick, an arcade controller like the one for the Neo Geo AES, that allows you to get your nostalgic groove on and play those games like that again. For someone like me, I'll wait till I find one used somewhere for 50 bucks or something like that. You know what I'm saying, maybe 100. Because I already have a Neo Geo, the real thing. Those games, as far as those games are concerned, you can get them anywhere. You can probably get those on your Wii, you know, on the Neo Geo and the virtual console on the Wii. They have discs available on consoles for SNK Arcade Classics. They have other Neo Geo downloads. I have all 6 Samurai Showdowns downloaded on my PlayStation Vita, for example. Those games are common. I'm not so sure what kind of a audience they're actually going to be able to reach with something like that. Probably a small group of old school gamers that will want to get in on that. As a collectible, the Neo Geo AES, a little bit pricey. They run anywhere from $200 to $350. Sometimes you can get them for less, sometimes more. Depends on, is it in a box, is it brand new, is it shrink wrapped, you know, that kind of thing. The games you can get anywhere from, you know, $40 to $100, maybe even more. My understanding is a copy of the original Metal Slug for the AES can run you $1,300. However, if you get the same game for an MVS today, you can pay $70. The MVS games are cheaper, apparently, noticeably cheaper. But for a collectible, it's a good system to have in your collection. Originally, they were meant for somebody that likes to pay a little bit more to get a full-blown arcade experience. Today, for collectors, they're still for that collector that wants to pay a little bit more to get an arcade experience, a retro arcade experience that really is arcade, because these are the arcade games. I recommend the Neo Geo AES to any collector. If you can find it and you can get games for it, by all means, pick it up. And that's my take on the whole thing, and I hope to see you again soon.